See the truth reflecting back in 1,000 different eyes.
Welcome back to the Fathers Making Progress podcast, the podcast that talks about community, fatherhood, and what it means to build stronger cycles and build stronger families. I'm your host, Terron Edwards, and today's topic is something that affects us, whether we know it or not, whether we want to recognize it or not, as men, and as masculinity, our definitions of masculinity. And we want to talk about redefining masculinity and fatherhood. You know, joining us today is David Comer, you know, who's coming to us, you know, from city of Milwaukee, you know, also FMP alum. Yeah, we can say that too. You know, long time been member, you know, and my brother rocking the dope FMP shirt. Hey. Mr. Tristan Gross, you know, long time advocate of anti-violence against women. I can say that, right?
Yeah.
Long time advocate of anti-violence against women. Big shout out to Community Care, our sponsor and our partner of the year, who sponsored us and being able to make conversations like this possible. So, like we always do at this time, we start off with who you be. You know, who are you? You know, you all are returning to the show, so y'all done been here before. Yeah. Which is dope. You know, just being able to see y'all here, and thank y'all for coming back. Thank y'all for taking the time to join us here at the table. So for those who didn't catch the last one, first of all, shame on you for not catching the last one, because that was a dope discussion, because these are also two of our girl dads of the year. Yeah. So David, I think it was our inaugural girl dad of the year, and Tristan won last year. So just so who are y'all, for the folks out here listening?
Yeah, thanks for having us back. Thanks always for creating this space to talk about fatherhood.
Yes, sir.
And since the last time we knew how it went, Dave told me I had to introduce myself first. He called dibs on that one. My name is Tristan Gross, proud husband, father of two amazing daughters, ages 11 and 17. I think specifically as it relates to the topic of today, have done a lot of work with both local and national organizations, looking and diving into ideas around manhood and masculinity. Yeah. Did some training with Men Can Stop Rape out in D.C. When a call of a man came to Milwaukee, they had a couple different stints here in the city. Did work with them. I've done work with UWM's with their women's center, worked at Sojourner Family Peace Center with folks who were with survivors of domestic violence, spent some time at the Alma Center with men who are on probation for domestic violence offenses, and then in my current role, just looking at violence as a public health issue, so more broadly thinking about violence, and been spending some time thinking about the connection between masculinity and violence. And
I knew you would bring that to that role. I remember you got. I'm like, Yeah.
So, just really excited for the conversation today. Just really, again, and I. We talked about this a bit on the last show. Just like I am who I am because my wife is who she is.
Right.
And the space that even right now that she holding it down, so I can be here.
So you can be here. Yeah.
Really, really want to hold that up and acknowledge that.
Definitely. Thank you.
Right on.
Who you be?
Who I be? I'm David Comer. Father, a son, a brother, a lifetime learner. Again, I don't see Tristan often, but when I do see Tristan, it's in moments like this. So I appreciate coming back on the show and sharing space with him. As I think about masculinity, I realized that a long time ago I developed what that meant. I developed it from the lens of my father. Oh. And, so unpacking what that is and what it is, what it could be, and then being, I'll say dad with daughters or a girl dad, and identifying what masculinity means to me in that space at home with my, again, roles, like what that role is at home. You hear a loud noise, who goes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I'm born and raised in the city of Milwaukee. I love my city. I love what we do. I love our growth, and I'm happy to be here.
Man, hey, man, happy to have you. So, I guess I could just ask you first, like, as the, you work with the Dad Project.
Yep.
Like you father of 3 daughters, so it's just like these different roles, like, your fatherhood life at home and, your direction of a project, and as I mentioned, just proud FMP alum, proud. Like how do all these identities intersect with each other?
I've been working really hard at becoming one. Like I don't want to wear the mask anymore. And I think it's been very difficult to be David Comer, who works for the city. David Comer, the father. David Comer, the son. The husband. And I've been just trying to doing my best at just becoming the same person, the authentic me, and like stepping into that.
How do you do that intentionally?
Being honest with yourself.
Because I'm about to pull out a notepad.
Yeah, look, man, it's hard. No, it's really challenging, man. The just being honest, being aware who you are, who you are, and where, and being okay with that, and being a father. I don't want my kids to see me at home and then out in public. They're like, wait, that's not the dad I know. That's not the man I know. And so, as we talk about masculinity, that's been part of my masculine journey of being my authentic self, like being consistent, authentic in that space. And it's challenging and hard, but it's a lot of self work, a lot of healing, a lot of being apologetic about who I was, and then being unapologetic on who I'm becoming.
That's deep, true, and I just think about, because I could really relate to that. Mm-hmm. Like I know over the years, and it's so funny. Like I've had to even had these conversations because people in my family even like, dog, you didn't change. Like, and it's like they say it in a, I'm like, they say it in a joking way, but like you don't even know your dad back in the day. He used to be blah 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 blah. But it's just like I've become real intentional about shedding things that don't serve me. Like that just like, what is that really doing for me? Like, I mean, like that posturing, and I'm like, come on, man.
Like, go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just gonna say, right, like I think one of the biggest things that I've learned in that is truly the performative nature of masculinity. Mm-hmm. And most of the time we perform it for each other. Yeah. Because I don't want you to try me. I don't want you to think I'm soft. I don't want you to think that I'm less than a man. So like there's a performance of masculinity that tends to supersede even our value system.
That's deep. That's deep how that can show up. Because like I've had actually situations where like things that, to speak to that point, like I was telling people stories about things that have happened, and it's like they tried to finish the story like, oh, and I know how that turned out because of blah blah blah. Like, no, not necessarily, bro. Right. Like, I mean, like, like you said, like for me, a lot of times, and I'm not perfect, but for me, it's become over the years where what's for the greater good. At least this is how I try to show up intentionally. What's for the greater good is going to supersede that posturing. That's how I try to, like just even in like personal situations. Like I had situations where, somebody just done, as they say, done tried me or whatever, But it's just like, at the end of the day, I want to go home to my family, and honestly, I want him to go home to his family too. Yeah, I want Dog to go home. These people I know. Seriously,
It's funny, like we talk about you in snapshots. And like when I first moved back to Milwaukee, I was dreadhead Dave. Like I was dreadhead, shirt and tie guy. And so it's so interesting. Now I've been back home for a few years, but then there's people who won't let go of that version of me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can't apologize for that no more because I was a wild boy. Right? I was young, right? And so, and it's so interesting. I look at, people on my social media. One day I did I try to do a social media cleanse, but I know everybody who's like on my Facebook, for example, but they know me in different ways and they know different versions of me. And sometimes it's not the best. And I'm like, I keep it because it keeps me honest. I don't want to unfriend you because you know me to be this type type of person.
Yeah.
I want to keep you in my life so I can remind myself like where I came from, and then hopefully we can have a great conversation. But that's all part, as you talked about, that journey of masculinity of performing. And I performed a lot for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Has anybody ever just tried to call you out on that? Like man, you ain't you like,
yeah.
Because I think this is just my personal take on it. And, like I've had conversations with people, like including Brother James Mosley about this. Yeah. I think a lot of times it's really hard for people to accept that evolution, because a lot of times it's like, what does that say about me?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's that projection. I mean, like if you don't accept that I changed,
mm-hmm.
then you, by accepting my change, that means you have to release that stronghold that you have against me.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that because it's part of my identity. So if I'm holding a grudge against you, I'm seeing you grow, well, I still want this grudge. I'm going to hold this against you. And I think sometimes and that's part of, again, everybody's individual journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's also this idea, right? Like the fundamental belief, do people change? Yeah. Do you hold out the belief that people can change? And if you like, no, people don't change, people just act or pretend, or they're a chameleon in the space, right? I think that then becomes rationale for your lack of growth. Right. So sometimes your growth, your changing, your healing over time conflicts other people because they haven't put in the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they seeing you change and they like, oh, this brother think he better than me now, whoop, whoop, whoop. And it's like, no, it ain't that. It's just that, like you said, things don't serve me right now. Like I be straight up with what I've lived through, like peace. Peace is paramount for me right now. And if it disturbs my peace, it don't involve me. But really thinking about, like, people will see you and see your change as a condemnation of their lack of change.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you just summarized. People will see your change as a condemnation of their lack. That's it right there. Tristan, you like as you kind of introduced it, you talk about all these anti-violence programs and initiatives, against women and just violence and strengthening well-meaning men. What about this work speaks to you to the point where you've dedicated your career to it in a lot of ways? I
feel like Brother Elisha from the last episode. You gonna give me my pass?
I got you.
Okay,
I got you.
I'm gonna hold it. Yeah. I grew up with stories of domestic violence, right? I think one of the stories that my mother often told was not long after I was born. My father strangled her almost to the point of killing her. Yeah. I grew up with stories of people being abused by their partner, shot by their partner, and so this story, man, and the amount of cousins that I got that have been who have not been protected from predators, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, I think it is extremely and deeply personal in terms of a journey. The flip side of that is I came to the reality that I had become the man, that I had become a man who was causing harm. Like, I wasn't causing physical harm, but like the emotional. I was manipulative. I had an unhealthy relationship with sex. Yeah. I had really horrible views about women and girls and their potential and their humanity. And so while I may not have been causing the physical harm, I was causing a whole hell of a lot of harm. Mm-hmm. And so it really was for me this kind of idea of right. When I went to and I say this, I'm gonna give a shout out to Black women. Where the camera at? Like, look here. I owe who I am to Black women. Oh. So when the Call of Man first came to Milwaukee, these women sat me down, right? Valerie Nash and Anika Leonard. And
shout out to Anika.
Yeah, and Miss Antonia from Asha Family
Shout out Miss
Services.
Antonia, yeah.
You know, and they sat me down and they was like, yo, your name came up as a facilitator for this session. And I'm like, all right, you know what? And they said, you can't be in this space talking about this and out here causing this harm in community. And they called me in such a really clear and loving way. Yeah. And that for me was the beginning of my change. It was these Black women saying to me, we see more in you. And they got me together. So that was the beginning of my journey into this work.
That's beautiful, and thank you for sharing that with us, because it's like you just said so much in that. Like, you know, just talk about evolution, and we talking about you know, because it's like a lot of times I've seen people get called out about stuff like that and just like wasn't able to handle it and just walk away. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's dope that you can not only be called out but be accountable to kind of have an internal call to action within yourself to the point where you've gone on to do these amazing things that you've gone on to do. You know, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate you shouting out those Black women. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, most definitely. So let me ask you, like as fathers, as men, as dads, and this is for either of you. What is one thing, or it could be a bunch of things, but just some things that you felt like you had to unlearn? You know, as far as like men and masculinity to show up as a father, as a dad, you know, in the right way. I know. And while y'all think about it, I could just come with one right away, man. You know, me, like we just talked about that whole image of having all the answers and knowing everything and always being put together. Because I just know, like it was something that it was just like kind of intentionality around it with my older sons, especially because I wanted to model and wanted to show up a certain kind of way. But as they got older, it's funny, because they would even say things like you know, I done been through some stuff, man. Like I done been through some major trauma, but they would say stuff like, "Oh, Dad, you don't understand. Dad, things have always been good for you."
Right. Yeah, like, kids think I'm a square.
Yeah, I'm just like, bro, I'm everything this was, and it did some. Like, yeah. You know, so this is like, as I got older, like with you know, it's almost like I have two sets of children, but like with the children that came later, I would just be real intentional about some of the lessons I had to learn and some of the things that I had to go through, and even just talking now, you know, just about healthy relationship. I had a conversation. You know what I mean? I'm not laughing about it, but some of the domestic violence things that I've seen growing up, and you know, like I was talking to my son this weekend about, you know, having to put men out my mama's house, and it was just some things somebody else had brought it up, but it's just like, dang, yeah, that did happen, and we, you know, just I mean, that's like that was part of it. So just like, I guess that for me it was the whole perfection, and I got it all together part of, you know, that's what a man and how a man shows up. Like, you know, just like vulnerability and just like, hey man, I ain't, you know, I didn't been through the mud, I done been through the dirt, I ain't got all the answers. Right. And it's not pretty.
Man, I mean, that's so many things that I've unlearned, had to unlearn. And this is still a journey, but you mentioned earlier, Tristan, about having an unhealthy relationship with sex. And I think just being vulnerable and honest, like weaponizing sex almost to a point, having sex as the only option to decompress. Ooh. As the only option, like, you know, whether it's self-pleasure or whether it's, you know, being pleased by someone else, has been a journey that I had to unlearn, where it's been challenging. You know, it's really been challenging. And me and my wife have been together for like 16 years. And I just remember, like, at one point, sex was the issue, whether it was too much or too little, whatever have you to complain. But the point is like I had to unlearn and had to learn what it meant for me to find to regulate, really, to regulate myself and not need another body. Not need to do something sensual and sexual. And I think that these things are really stereotypical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's so cliche. And I didn't want to bring it up, but we're here.
But that's real though.
It's real, right?
Yeah.
As I was redefining my journey with sex, what I realized was that because I lacked emotional processing skills, right, that became my answer for everything. Because there's this sense of closeness to another human being. There is the release of hormones, right, of pleasure hormones in the brain after you. But like, there was also sometimes, if we here now, so we go keep it right.
Hey.
There was also some, right, what they call the post-nut clarity.
Yeah.
Right? It had gotten to a point where even the sex, and like immediately afterwards, like you discussed it with yourself, you discussed it with the person sitting next to you, right? And you like, man, this ain't it. So that's a real thing. But to answer the question, I think for me it's two things. Always being in control. I think for me, control is like, I did not have so much control as a young person, and that challenged my safety so often that, like, control almost to the point of trying to dominate.
Yeah.
And that's just not, that was something I had to unlearn. The other thing I had to unlearn was that my worth was in my productivity.
Oh, yeah. Woo. Yeah.
And that, like, yes, I have to, right? Like, I have to play my role in terms of the family dynamic. I have to be a contributor. But it had gotten to the point that even when my wife would do things like take the girls and leave me with an empty house and say, relax, I was still doing chores. I was still doing work. I was
just
still
talked
doing
about that.
projects. I was still doing stuff because there was this, that's where I felt like that's where my worth lied, right? Like, only in what I was able to provide for other people. And I'm just now after starting to be okay with just sitting down and giving myself the grace of, like, you know what? I don't have to clean this thing right now. I can do it in the morning. It's not the end of the world. And being able to be okay with that.
Man, I'm gonna be honest, I still wrestle with that. Cause it's so against my self-talk. Like everything I've learned about, like just everything that I pride myself on is just internal. Like, it's just this internal, I don't know, it's almost like a song that's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still playing. If I'm sitting still, it's still playing. And it's just like, I gotta get up. I gotta go get it. I mean, you got time. You can get this in. You can get this in. Like, come on, man. Why you just sitting here watching? Don't watch Netflix, man. Go ahead. Go work on this project.
Why you laying here sleeping?
Yeah,
Get up.
Get up, man. What you doing? Yes. I get it. I completely get that. And back to what you were saying about the sex, man. It's just like when we talk about toxic masculinity and we talk about these things that we learn, the unlearn. It's just like there's still cycles of thought where people will say, like, what's wrong with that? Like, just a man being a man, and you're a whole man, you're a whole full-blooded man, like, and it's just like godly. But it's just like, if you just think about it, like you said, post clarity. It's like, if you think about it in logistic terms, or if you just think about it logically, how much trouble we get ourselves in,
Bruh.
By not having dick discipline.
Yes.
Yes. Gotta have that DD.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You gotta have it.
Just how much, how much different our lives would be, or how much different lives would be if we just.
I was so with that said, one of my good friends, Mario, shout out Mario Drain. He sent me, he sent me a clip a couple months ago, but it was a clip essentially saying that one of the only emotions that is acknowledged for us men is anger.
Yeah.
Right. And the other emotion that's acknowledged is being lustful.
Yeah.
And so if I'm only being acknowledged for my anger and my lust, and that's the validation, and I get affirmed by performing in that space. It just makes sense if I'm seeking comfort, to be cuddled, to be held, to receive this attention that I'm receiving. And I think this starts at a young age too. Like, at a young age. I'll be honest. I do have a problem with the phrase toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I struggle with what that is, and I think I need a definition. Even when so I'm trying to I'm trying to receive it in a way where I can learn and grow from it. Because the other thing is that I think I get triggered because we associate masculinity with negativity. And, and there are areas of masculinity that we can associate with negativity, but there's other areas like chivalry.
Yeah. Yes.
And that sometimes is a trigger things for some people. But I am a door opener. Mm-hmm. Hey, go through.
Me too.
I am a yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I am a hey. Let me walk on this side of the sidewalk.
Right.
Right. And that's masculine. You know what I'm saying? That's masculinity, and that's something that I think we accept and embrace around the space around man. I remember years ago, man, I was trying to, you have these moments of the brain exploration.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to create this program. This one's free. This for you, FMP. Here you go. It's called Without Motive, right? And it's like what it is like it's a whole movement of open the door for her, greet her, love on her, say hi to her without motive.
Without motive.
Without motive.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because that's my role in society as a black man to black women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I demonstrate that with my children and my wife. It's craziest thing. It's so funny. We can go out in public. Remember, it's 5 of us total. 4 females, women. We went to get some ice cream, and I opened the door for everybody, and they will wait. They were just waiting in this small hallway, and everybody's looking around like, well, who's opening the door? I was like, my bad, let me open it. I was just observing them. Mm-hmm. My point is that it's I think from I guess a modern lens, people may look at that as potentially toxic masculinity, but I think it's probably one of the greatest demonstration of, masculinity in a vulnerable way. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, and I'm with you there, right? I feel like there's, in this age of anti-intellectualism, mm-hmm. right? We take a label and put it on a thing, and then all sorts of stuff falls underneath that without any exploration.
Yeah.
And so, when I talk about this, what I actually talk about is really harmful manifestations of masculinity.
Right.
Right. And when we look at the fact that all forms of oppression are related. And so, if we think about the microaggressions that white people commit against us when they say things like, "Oh, you clean up really nice," or "You speak so articulately," and all of that, right? It comes from this underlying belief that we are that black folks are for some reason less than, right, because of our blackness. And I think one thing that was really helpful for me is learning about some of the roots of chivalry and some of the harm that is done. But at the end of the day, right, there's a point where you and your partner have to establish your dynamic.
Right. That's right.
You and your partner have to establish your dynamic.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And part of it, there's these larger systems, but it comes down to a thing of how people want to be loved and taken care of. And it's not, I do these things because I'm a man and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But explaining to people that this is a way that I show my love. Is it received in this way? Is there something else I could be doing for you? And it is the agreement that you have with the people in your life, right? And to me, that's way more meaningful than just like I'm doing this because I got a dick, right?
Yeah, right. And I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad to hear that too. You know, like because like you said, we just slap labels on stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole thing about toxic masculinity and you know, because I just know, and I like the definition that you kind of gave to it too. You know, just when I say toxic masculinity, I'm just thinking, I'm kind of thinking along that line of like just some of these things that some stuff stands the test of time. Some stuff we just need to some stuff just need to get thrown away. Like, and I don't think there's anything wrong. I'll say it again. I don't think there's anything wrong with indoctrination. Like, I think, you know, a lot of times people hear that word and it's just such a dirty word, but it's just like what works in my household and what works between these roles that we've kind of established. You know, I mean, it works. It works, and it works for us, and it works for us very, very well. You know, I'm with it.
And again, like you say, establishing those again, what works for you and your family. Like, I'm the cook.
Yeah,
Like, I'm like.
My brother.
You know what I'm saying? I grocery shop. I'm the cook. I get us out the house in the morning. I get us up in the morning, and I had to ask myself the question: why do I like doing these things? And what I came to the conclusion is that these are quality time moments. And then going grocery shopping, I get out of the house so nobody's around me, so I get to
Talk about it.
You know what I mean? Anyway, but that's what works in my household, and I think we have to be able to respect and understand and have like better conversations collectively of the differentiation of what it means, what your roles are inside your home.
Yeah, man. I want to go back to what you said, and shout out to Mario, man. But that you know, the two accepted emotions like anger and lust, like I just go back to my coaching day. I ain't coached in a while, man. Unfortunately, I just haven't had the time for it. But when I coached youth football, I would do this intentionally, like a lot of because those boys. I mean, it's aggressive, it's football, you know, whatever. But people would come and it would just be like our boys would say stuff like, man, you know, I hate that N words, you know, like that, and it's just like I would stop practice. I'd be like, wait, and we gather in a circle. You hate dog? You came here with him, like you know, and we'd explore that right there in the middle of practice, and they be so awkward. They be just laughing like and I'm like, no, but seriously, you hate dog? Like I'd say you love him. That's your guy. Y'all came together. You know, can't you say you love dude? Can't you say you love him and maybe he hurt your feelings? Let's talk about that. And they be like, oh man, that's gay, coach. Blah 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 blah. But we like really just take the time to explore that. Like, man, just say it with me. I loved him, but he hurt my feelings. And they be able to verbalize it eventually. But it's just like that unlearning. I mean, because these was young boys, man. We talking about 11-year-olds and 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds and yeah, I mean, I hate you rolled off the tongue so slick, but you know, I was super uncomfortable with our love dog, even though we caught the bus here together, or even though our mom just dropped us off, or we talking about playing Fortnite when we leave here. But yeah,
I think the one of the things that really unhealthy forms of masculinity do is they rob men and boys of their emotionality, the full spectrum of emotion that is the human experience. And so sometimes when I would do the workshops, there's an activity they call the funnel of emotion, right? And we start off with happy, scared, betrayed, lonely, right? These are just normal human emotions. This is what it means to be human, right? And I'll say, okay, when you feel these things, do you talk to somebody about it? Nope. And so the actual activity, right? Like I have 2 pieces of tape on the floor. It's wide enough for 7 people to stand shoulder to shoulder, and then the mouth of it is wide enough for only 1 person to stand. And so what I have them do is I say, well, do you feel right? Like when you feel this, do you ask somebody or do you talk about it? Nope. Okay, take a step forward. What do you do instead? I play the game. I listen to music. You know, I eat something. You know, I go call up a shorty, right? Cool. You do those things. Does that make you feel better? No, not really. Okay, take another step forward. Now how you feeling? Oh, right. And what they would just begin to describe are the secondary emotions, right? I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling irritated. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling misunderstood, right? Okay. Then do you talk to somebody about it? Nope. Okay, take another step forward, right? Now we getting into like, I'm feeling isolated. I'm feeling alone.
Right.
I'm feeling these things. And I'm like, okay, do you talk to somebody about it then? No. Okay, take another step forward. So by this time, they all crumpled down in the mouth of the funnel. And I said, picture this, right? You had the worst day ever. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, right? You got up late. You missed your bus, because this is usually with young men. So you missed your bus, right? Somebody stepped on your fresh J's, put a mark. They marked up your ones. That person that you can't stand was all up in your face today, right? Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And I said, I want you to think about your favorite snack, right? You know exactly where it is, right? It's in the refrigerator. It's in the cabinet. It's in this drawer. Picture it. Picture where it is. Now imagine you get to the crib. You go to get it, and it's gone.
Somebody that ate it.
What you do? And they explode. Right? Yeah. And when we talk about this, right, I think we often talk about like anger is one of the only accepted emotions. But there's a significant amount, there's a whole lifetime of suppressed emotions that specifically Black men and boys are carrying with them. And so if we're talking about coming back to our humanity, if you can't sit with a black boy or a Black man in his anger to help him get back to the true humanity of himself, then you shouldn't be working with Black men and boys.
That's real. Hey, I say to that.
So I think sometimes we got to think about what's developmentally appropriate.
Correct.
Right. And so middle school, kids have an explosion of emotions. Yeah. But they don't know what these emotions are. Like, they don't know how to articulate these emotions, nor does like society, our education system, society allow youth to explore those emotions. And I always say we don't have a plan for middle school. Like, there's no plan for middle school. We have a plan for elementary, so early childhood to like third grade. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And then we have a plan, quote, for high school, but nothing for like 4th through 8th. Yeah. And 4th through 8th grade is like the most critical times of emotionality, as you're saying, that full spectrum of it. And we divest into it. We don't really truly engage into it like we could and should. And we miss so many opportunities, and these young boys, young girls become young adults.
Man,
who can't regulate.
That's real. And back to the coaching, and that's like, I learned a lot of that when I was coaching, because it's like I had that age, those 5th through 8th graders is who I had. Mm-hmm. It's just like, these are kids, but they're not really kids. It's like, they're emotionally
psychopaths.
Kind of all over the place. Kind of all over the place, and they still navigating, stuff. Yeah. And it's like I just never forget one experience. Our boys played in the championship game, mm-hmm. which was at the by the old Obama High School, the Custer Stadium. Mm-hmm. Okay, now they do all the championship games the same day. So we had the little kids, the pee-wee kids, the little bitty kids. They're out there playing. Stands is full. Like, mm-hmm. all their parents is out there because they young and they cute. And parents at that age feel like they should be at these kids' games. Mm-hmm. As we get to the kids that are a little bit older, like the grade school kids, they have kids. They don't have as many as the young kids, but our boys go on last. By the time our boys go on, nobody's in the stand. It's just them and the coaches, and they noticed. Like they, I mean, they didn't make a dang, ain't nobody. But it's like somebody. I mean, they made jokes about it. Honestly, it's like they was like, but they noticed.
Yeah, they laughed to prevent themselves from crying.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they noticed. They noticed that nobody was there for them.
So something like this football analogy is so interesting to me, because it reminds me of something that I experienced like a couple weeks ago, and not to get all churchy on everybody, but I've been praying a lot lately, and and something came over me. I never said this prayer before. I asked God, I was like, "Hey God, allow me to enter this space with extreme humility, to be your humble servant, but be your most confident and fierce warrior." I stopped, like, whoa, the spectrum. And I was like, well, am I humble or am I a warrior? And the understanding was like, yo, that's yes. You can be both, right? You can be both. I can be a humble servant and I can be a confident, fierce warrior. And I think this is where we sometimes rob ourselves from this. And again, I'm speaking for myself because I just recently had this experience. I was almost robbed myself by saying I couldn't be both. Like, I had to stop myself and like, well, I can be both. Talking to other people and getting a validation, like, oh, you're right. This is one and the same.
Yeah,
like this is who we could be.
Well, and I say this all the time. There's some research to kind of back this up, is that our liberation as men is directly tied to our liberation as Black folks.
Oh, yeah,
right. Ideas around manhood, European ideas of manhood and masculinity spread with colonization.
That's true.
That's not natural to us. Yeah. And so sometimes I really struggle with brothers who really be like, wow, right? Like, forget whitey, right? And they go hard, but then want to hold on to these ideas of manhood and masculinity.
Very oppressive.
Right? And they like, the white man got, so I'm like, the white man got everything wrong except gender stuff.
Right.
Right? The white man got everything wrong except for the gender stuff. But I think that is a part of our liberation, is to say what we've been taught around ideas of manhood and masculinity are not native to us. It's not native to us. And the definitions of what it truly are, the ability to be a humble warrior, right? Like, I think our ancestors knew that.
Right. Most definitely.
Right. Our ancestors knew that, but those things got ripped away from us, and we were given these really whitewashed ideas of, men is the head of the house, women should be submissive, blah, 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 blah. And it's not right. Like, what we're really talking about, if we're being honest, is like going into our traditional cultures were asset-based.
Yeah.
Everybody in people in villages, they had roles. They were celebrated for their skills, for their talents, what they brought to the table. And sometimes that was not necessarily gender-based. It was individual, but it was asset-based.
Oh, yeah.
Because we all needed each other. Right? We all needed each other. And so I think if we start to, there's some research around this, around doing liberation-based therapy with men of color through the lens of critical consciousness, right? Of going back, this ain't Kofa. Let me go back and reclaim our identity of manhood and masculinity outside of how white folks define it.
And that is powerful. And it is so funny. Like, I didn't think about that intentionality around the FMP awards, but right now, as you say this, and as I internalize that, like that kind of gets at that too, right? Like, there's so many. It's like, I get that people don't do things for awards, but sometimes it's almost like people have to like almost kind of fight against their programming to accept the love and the praise, and it's just like, that part of it. I do want that part of it done away with. like, bro, like we should be able to be a humble work. You should be able to celebrate yourself. Say, yes, there's more work to do. Yes, I'm not, yes, I'm not perfect, and yes, the world isn't peaches and cream because of what I've done. But hey, man, this is a rung. I'm standing as a beacon. I'm standing proudly as a beacon for in this particular field or lane, and I'm proud of that, and I'm gonna keep working. But it's like because I just start thinking about just how traditionally, as Black men, we have just been kind of told to stay in your lane, put your head down, and
Well, and so to be an advanced age Black man is goals, right? So, my father is 69 years old. And he's retired twice. Like, retired from Milwaukee County Sheriff Department, right? And then he retired.
Shout out to Brother Comer, man. Let's go. Yeah.
And he retired from Marquette University Public Safety, right? And it was a couple of years ago where he started having a conversation with me about things that occurred to him when he was 5 years old. And it struck a chord in me where I said, I cannot wait until I'm 69 to address and or feel comfortable to have these conversations. He was able to feel comfortable because he was resting, right? And he was finally able to rest. So again, putting your head down, making sacrifices for his family, and then he made these sacrifices to the point where he has 2 kids, and both the kids are independent.
Yeah.
And even then, though, he still wasn't like, okay, I need to stop. Then he has grandkids where I need to do more. Like, yo, whoa. Like, stop. Like, you don't have to keep going. And as we think about, like, as having this conversation about masculinity, that's a lot of our almost destiny. And that scares me. Yeah. Like, it scares me, not for me, but for those who feel as if that is their destiny, that they won't have the opportunity to unpack, to peel back, or you don't have to be this extreme vulnerable person.
Right.
However, let's talk about those things. And something we talked about before is, again, we always talk about safe spaces, but safe people, safe opportunities. Yeah. We always miss the opportunity to, again, going back to the full spectrum of emotionality around our experiences as it relates to masculinity.
If we had these safe places and safe spaces and safe people and more just kind of what has helped us, and like what would change in the community if men were able to do more of this inner work? Like, what?
This is way off, but so Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
Right. So think about Marcus Garvey.
Let's go. Let's go.
Right?
Okay.
Marcus Garvey, face, head, strong leader. Earl Little, financial backer.
Yeah.
Community activist, collective approach. I think we'll have more of that duality. And we think about how we can take ownership in our beliefs, take ownership in our finances, take ownership in our education. When we have spaces for men, we create better spaces for women.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Right. And that's liberation, right? And I'm biased. I got 3 girls, 3 daughters, but I think that's liberation in a way that allows to express for everyone. Actually, there's an article that came out that said when Black women are in safer spaces, the U.S. is in a better space financially.
Absolutely.
Safer. So when you create safe and better spaces for women, Black women specifically, you create safer and better spaces for everyone in the country. And I think that goes to, we are able to act in our own, in our rightful path of manhood. Yeah. I think we'll be in a better space.
Ashe. We can't drop these mics because I know they're expensive.
We don't own it.
That's a mic drop moment right there.
Oh, but that's a great segment. Now it's time for Facts of Cap. Do some Facts of Cap. Facts of Cap. This time I'm going to throw out some statements. People can say, about men, masculinity, fatherhood, emotions. Tell me if it's Facts of Cap. Facts of Cap. Real men cry. Facts of Cap.
Facts.
Facts.
I don't even understand. Right? Again, I think that's a part of the performance. There's when when you look at the hormones that are released through tears, they're stress hormones.
Yep.
So think about this. We telling men that they can't cry.
It goes against their biology.
It goes against their biology. It goes against one of the body's natural ways of relieving stress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then on top of that, you cry as a child. You're talking about developmentally. You getting hit in the chest, told not to cry. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of things that are happening there. So that's huge, man. Facts.
Man, I cried this weekend. This weekend was a unique weekend. May 23rd. It's my mom's birthday.
Yeah.
And I lost my mom about 3 years ago. And then May 25th is my wife's birthday. So thinking again, going back to that humble servant, fierce warrior, I cry just for being grateful for being inside this space. I think crying has been such a great opportunity for me. But the other thing is that we don't always need an audience when we cry. Also, we don't always need to be comforted to cry.
Yeah.
And I think we miss out on those opportunities to say, like, yo, cry. Like look, I was working with a guy this weekend. So when the last time you cried? He was like, man, I don't know when the last time I cried. I said, well, we're going to have to work on that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Man, next one. Men are the highest perpetrators of violence. Facts or cap?
So I would say, and I'm gonna step in with the because I've been doing some research.
Okay,
I've been doing some research around this. That's one of the benefits of being over at the medical college.
Yeah,
I get that free access to the research library. So I think what I've really been looking at, and this is why I kind of shifted my definition of manhood and masculinity. Right. So there is a tool called Conformity to Masculine Norms Inventory, and this tool in itself looks at some of the things that we talk about as traditional. The domains of this tool looks at some of the traditional ideas around manhood and masculinity. It's dominance over women. It's relationship with sex. It's the homophobia pieces. And what the data and research has shown us is that, when we look at no matter what type of violence or injury we're looking at, men are disproportionately represented. So when we look at motor vehicle accidents and fatalities, men and boys are overly represented. When we look at community violence, so firearm violence, right, on both sides of the gun, men are overly represented. When we look at not only completions of suicide, but if we look at self-harm ideology and we expand that to include reckless driving and drug use, right? Like if we expand that to some of the ways that folks show a lack of concern for their own lives, men and boys are disproportionately represented there. We know what the data is around domestic and sexual violence.
Now, when we say men are overrepresented, what are we saying? Like
they represent a higher percentage in this form of violence than they do in the overall population.
I see. Okay. All right.
And so, what's really interesting to this around for me, and comes back to the idea that we kind of started with the fact that it's a performance, is that even in same-sex couples, if one partner has a higher conformity to masculine norms, the risk of domestic violence increases by 200%.
Wow.
I only thing I'll say to that is that those things are really hard to hear, to accept, and I have a physiological response to it. It's almost shame, right? And so I think I pause all the time. I was like, man, what am I feeling? That's shame. So thank you for that.
Man, that's deep, but like we've talked about, like levels to privilege. I know you earlier you just talked about the white experience and how sometimes things kind of get just as men, as men, like you said, just like how do we respond to that? I know you talked a little earlier about like kind of just like as well-meaning men and in ways that we could show up,
Yeah, I think we've had lots of conversations lately, especially with the rise of our current president, where we've asked our white allies to show up for us and to take some of the risks that we as people of color have been taking for a long time in our liberation. I extend that same invitation to men to show up for women and girls, because if women could solve these issues, it would have been solved a really long time ago, I think.
And could you give like an easy example of what that would look like? Just like
play sports. Did you play sports? Mm-hmm. Locker room talk.
There we go.
Right? Like what if one thing I one of the things when I first came back from the training in DC with Men Can Stop Rape, one of the tactics that I took on was humor. and I'll say this, before you intervene in anything, you should always be managing your safety, right? Like you got to know when and where and how to speak up. But somebody would say something like, "Oh, she got a fat behind."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, she probably also got hopes and dreams. Just to remind, like, who you're talking about is a human.
That's right.
Not someone, not an object. So, I think there are these moments where, they happen often in the barbershop. They happen often where folks who perpetrate harm we don't say anything. We just kind of let it go, or we justify it, and that's not to say, again, like, that's not to say that, because working with men who are on probation for domestic violence, I saw a lot of folks harming and hurting each other. This is not to say that women and girls don't have work to do as well. But the same way I can't change white folks and force white folks to do their stuff, I got to take care of black folks and be like, hey, black folks, this is where we need to clean up, right? The same way I'm not going, right? I can lift things up, but like, I think as men, we have enough work to do that we can be holding ourselves accountable to that. And if we talk about leading by example, when we start to show up differently, we create spaces for other people to show up differently with us.
Definitely. We coming to the end, you all. I want to do a quick rapid fire word association. So I'm gonna throw out a word and tell me the first word to come to mind. Y'all ready?
You got to go first this time.
Brother Comer. I'm gonna throw out a word. You throw out a word. Throw out the word associated. You ready?
I'm dyslexic, FYI. Go ahead.
Here we go. Love.
Happiness.
Hate.
Love.
Dominate.
Power.
Oh, all right. Give it up for him. Let's go. All right, Tristan. Strength.
Power.
Punk.
Oh, soft. What's the first word that came up?
Fatherhood.
Love.
Y'all give it up for him. Yeah, let's go.
I feel like mine was much more harder than yours. I think the fix is in. So.
I don't know. I felt like yours was easy because I'm like,
that's that perspective, right?
I didn't figure it out now. Now I gotta go home and do some more work.
Hey.
Go home and do some more work. I feel the same way as you think about this space, right? The opportunities to have, conversation, something we talked about earlier, like being in a space of like-minded people. I won't say like-minded people, just people who are in the same space of vulnerability, same space of learning, same space of growth, where like we can have this discourse and disagreement, but it is what it is.
Hey, that's part of it too, right? No, ain't it? Yeah. Just being able to show up authentically, and love and grow on it. That's because that's part of vulnerability too, right? Like, hey man, I don't always have the answers. I actually can get something from my brother right across the way. And hold on to that. So, this conversation reminded us that it's just like, manhood is a journey. It's an ever evolving, path. And hey, some of these well-meaning things that a lot of us have learned, on our way, through whether it was through trauma, whether it was through us trying to protect ourselves. Sometimes if it don't serve us, we should shed it. Getting out of that man box, being able to do things that are more healthy, not only for us, but for our sons and for our daughters. Hey man, I just really appreciate y'all coming on the show. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, David. And big shout out to Community Care, our partners of the year and our sponsors for this show. So until next time, stay present, stay positive, and stay making progress. Peace.
Fathers making progress, FMP.